Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about success, our minds often jump to the images we see in magazines, movies, and social media: luxurious houses, expensive cars, prestigious job titles, and public admiration. But let us pause for a moment and ask ourselves, is that truly what defines success? Is it possible for someone to have all of these things and still feel unfulfilled? The answer, if we are honest, is yes. Many people have climbed the ladder of achievement only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. True success goes much deeper than outward appearances or financial gains. It's about who we are becoming in the journey of life. The greatest measure of success is not how much you own, but the quality of your character. You can gain the whole world, yet if you lose your integrity, your compassion, and your sense of right and wrong, then what have you truly gained? Real success cannot be measured in currency because it is rooted in values that money can never buy. Character is the foundation upon which lasting success is built. It's what you do when no one is watching. It's how you treat people who can do nothing for you in return. It's the discipline to choose what is right, even when it costs you something. A wealthy person who achieved their position by lying, cheating, or stepping on others might appear successful in the world's eyes, but their foundation is unstable. They may have built a tall tower, but if the base is rotten, the structure will eventually crumble. On the other hand, consider a person who may not be widely known or wealthy, yet they live with honesty, treat others with respect, and stand firm in their principles. They might not have a mansion or a sports car, but they carry something far greater. A life of integrity that inspires trust and admiration from those around them. That is a kind of wealth that cannot be stolen, devalued, or destroyed. The problem is that our culture often measures success by comparison. We look at what others have and feel pressured to match or surpass it. This creates a cycle where our worth is determined by someone else's achievements, leading to an endless chase that leaves us exhausted. But when we shift our focus from possessions to character, we begin to see that the truest success comes from within. It is about being at peace with who you are and how you live, regardless of how the world measures you. Think about the people in history who are remembered and respected long after they're gone. Often, it's not because of their wealth or fame, but because of their moral courage, kindness, and service to others. Their success was measured by their ability to stand for what is right, to live by their principles, and to make a positive difference in the lives of others. These are qualities that endure far beyond a lifetime. Living with integrity doesn't mean life will always be easy. In fact, it often means making choices that are harder in the short term, but more rewarding in the long term. Choosing honesty when dishonesty could bring you quicker rewards. Refusing to take advantage of others when it might benefit you personally. And keeping your promises even when it's inconvenient. These are the real tests of success. The path of integrity may not always lead to instant results, but it leads to a kind of success that is deeply satisfying and unshakable. Success based on possessions can disappear in a moment. A bad investment, a lost job, an economic downturn, and suddenly everything you built can vanish. But success based on character is something no one can take away from you. Even in times of loss or difficulty, you remain rich in the qualities that truly matter: honor, kindness, humility, and resilience. So, if you truly want to be successful, don't just focus on what you want to have. Focus on who you want to be. Ask yourself each day, am I living in a way that I can be proud of? Am I building trust with the people around me? Am I treating others the way I would want to be treated? If you can answer yes to those questions, then you are already on the path to a kind of success that will outlast trends, titles, and material possessions. Remember, the world might not always recognize this kind of success immediately, but over time, it becomes undeniable. When people speak your name, they won't just talk about your achievements, they'll talk about your character. And that is the truest measure of a life well lived. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a kind of success that looks impressive on the outside, but feels hollow on the inside. It's the kind where you accomplish everything you set out to do. But when you finally reach the top, you find yourself asking, is this all there is? The truth is, success without purpose is like a beautifully wrapped gift with nothing inside. It may look valuable to the world, but it leaves you empty when you open it. Purpose is the compass that gives direction to our efforts. Without it, we may work hard, achieve recognition, and even amass wealth, but our lives will lack the deeper satisfaction that comes from knowing our work truly matters. Success becomes meaningful only when it aligns with a purpose greater than ourselves, a cause that outlives our personal ambitions and impacts others in a positive way. We live in a world that often defines success in narrow terms: reaching a certain salary, buying a certain house, earning a certain title. But think about it. If these were the only measures of success, then the moment we retire, lose a job, or step away from the public eye, our worth would vanish. That is why purpose is so important. Purpose gives success roots. It ensures that what you build has lasting value, even when circumstances change. When your life is driven by purpose, every achievement becomes more than a personal victory. It becomes a contribution to something bigger. You're not just making a living, you're making a difference. For example, a teacher's purpose might be to shape young minds for a better future. A doctor's purpose might be to heal and restore lives. An entrepreneur's purpose might be to create opportunities for others. In each case, the success is not just in the paycheck or the recognition, but in the lives impacted along the way. Purpose-driven living also gives you resilience. When challenges come, and they will, you are far more likely to persevere if you know your efforts are serving a greater mission. People who live without a clear purpose often give up when the road gets hard because they have no deeper reason to keep going. But when you are committed to a cause bigger than yourself, you can endure difficulties because you know the outcome is worth the struggle. It's important to understand that your purpose doesn't have to be grand in the world's eyes to be significant. You don't have to be famous, wealthy, or powerful to live a life of deep impact. Sometimes, the most meaningful purposes are fulfilled quietly, in the way you raise your children, in the kindness you show to strangers, in the encouragement you offer to those who have lost hope. These acts may never make headlines, but they make a lasting difference in ways you may never fully see. Discovering your purpose often requires reflection. You must look beyond temporary desires and ask yourself the deeper questions. What do I care about most? What kind of legacy do I want to leave? Whose lives do I want to touch through my work and actions? Your answers to these questions become the guiding principles that shape how you define and pursue success. Once you find your purpose, the way you measure success changes completely. You stop asking, how much can I get? And start asking, how much can I give? You begin to see success not as a trophy to hold, but as a seed to plant, one that grows into something that will continue to bear fruit long after you are gone. Living with purpose also protects you from the trap of comparison. When you know your unique mission, you no longer need to compete with someone else's definition of success. You realize that just because someone else is called to climb a different mountain doesn't mean your mountain is any less important. Purpose gives you the freedom to run your own race and measure your life by your own values, not by someone else's scoreboard. And here's the beautiful truth. When you pursue success with a purpose-driven heart, the rewards often come naturally. People are drawn to authenticity. They recognize when you are genuinely committed to making a difference. Opportunities open, relationships deepen, and your work begins to create a ripple effect that reaches farther than you imagined. So, let us remember this. Success without purpose is a short-lived victory, but success fueled by purpose becomes a legacy. The material rewards may fade, the applause may quiet, but the lives you touch and the good you leave behind will speak for you long after you are gone. In the end, the measure of your success will not be found in the things you owned, but in the difference you made. And that difference begins the moment you decide to live for something greater than yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on what it truly means to be successful, let us remember this. The world may praise achievements, possessions, and titles, but these are fleeting. The real measure of success lies in the strength of your character and the depth of your purpose. It is found in the honesty of your actions, the integrity of your choices, and the love and kindness you extend to others. One day, all the external symbols of success will fade. The cars will rust, the titles will be forgotten, and the applause will grow silent. But what will remain is the impact you had on the lives around you, the hope you inspired, and the truth you stood for even when it was difficult. That is the kind of success no one can take away from you. So, choose today to live with integrity. Choose to anchor your ambitions in a purpose greater than yourself. Let your success be more than a number in a bank account. Let it be a story of courage, compassion, and commitment. Because when your time comes to look back on your life, you will not measure it by what you gained, but by what you gave. And if you can look in the mirror and know that you lived with honesty, lifted others along the way, and left the world a little better than you found it, then, my friend, you will have found the true measure of success.